The Char B1 was born out of the ashes of World War I. As France emerged from the Great War, its military strategists recognized the need for a new kind of armored vehicle, one that could break through the heavily fortified defenses that characterized trench warfare. The tank was envisioned as a breakthrough vehicle, capable of leading the charge in a future conflict, while also supporting infantry and engaging enemy armor. France's doctrine of the time emphasized heavily armored and well-armed vehicles, and the Char B1 was to be the embodiment of that philosophy. The development of the Char B1 began in the 1920s, with various prototypes tested throughout the decade. However, the tank's final design was not completed until the early 1930s. The Char B1's design was a collaboration between several French companies, with Renault ultimately overseeing production. The process was slow and costly, as the tank's complexity and the high standards required for its components demanded meticulous craftsmanship. By 1935, the first production models were completed, and the Char B1 entered service with the French Army. Now, let's take a closer look at the Char B1 specifications. The tank weighed in at a hefty 32 tons, with a length of 6.37 meters, a width of 2.46 meters, and a height of 2.79 meters. It was powered by a 250 horsepower engine, allowing it to reach a top speed of around 28 kilometers per hour 17 miles per hour on roads, and about 21 kilometers per hour 13 miles per hour off-road. The Char B1 was armed with a 47mm SA-34 gun, mounted in the turret, and a 75mm howitzer located in the hull. Its armor ranged from 40mm to 60mm thick, providing substantial protection against anti-tank weapons of the time. With a fuel capacity of 400 liters, it had a range of approximately 200 kilometers 125 miles on roadways, though this was significantly reduced in rough terrain. These stats made the Char B1 a formidable adversary, especially in a defensive role. Operating the Char B1 was no small feat. The tank required a crew of 4. A commander, who also served as the gunner for the turret-mounted 47mm gun, a driver, who also controlled the hull-mounted 75mm howitzer, a radio operator, and a loader. The complexity of the tank's controls and the need for precise coordination among the crew members made the Char B1 a challenging vehicle to operate, especially under combat conditions. The Char B1 saw extensive action during the Battle of France in 1940. Despite being outnumbered and often isolated, Char B1s performed admirably against German armor. In several engagements, individual Char B1s were able to destroy multiple enemy tanks while withstanding significant punishment. For example, during the Battle of Ston, a single Char B1, named Ure, reportedly destroyed 13 German tanks in a single engagement. However, despite these successes, the French army's overall strategic situation led to the eventual fall of France. German forces had a healthy respect for the Char B1. Its thick armor and powerful guns made it a difficult opponent, especially for the lighter German tanks early in the war. Reports from the front lines often described the Char B1 as nearly invulnerable to the standard German anti-tank weapons of the time. However, German tactics, such as flanking maneuvers and concentrated artillery fire, eventually found ways to neutralize the Char B1's advantages. Despite its strengths, the Char B1 had significant drawbacks. The most notable was its complexity and high cost. The tank was expensive to produce, and its intricate systems required extensive maintenance. Its dual-gun system, while unique, also posed a challenge in combat, as coordinating the two guns effectively was difficult. Furthermore, the Char B1's relatively slow speed and limited range made it less effective in the fast-paced, mobile warfare that characterized World War II. The tank's heavy armor and powerful armament were a reflection of France's pre-war doctrine, which emphasized heavy, well-protected vehicles for breakthrough operations. However, this doctrine was quickly rendered obsolete by the German blitzkrieg tactics. In an attempt to address some of these issues, the Char B1 was eventually upgraded to the Char B1 bis, which featured thicker armor and a more powerful engine. However, these improvements could only go so far, and the fundamental limitations of the tank's design could not be fully overcome. The rapid advances in tank design and tactics during the war meant that the Char B1, while formidable in 1940, was quickly outclassed by newer vehicles. In total, around 400 Char B1 tanks were produced before the fall of France in 1940. Despite their limited numbers, these tanks made a significant impact in the early stages of the war. However, their production was halted after France's surrender, and many of the surviving Char B1s were captured and used by German forces in secondary roles. The Char B1 remains a symbol of France's interwar military strategy, a tank that was ahead of its time in some ways, yet ultimately limited by the doctrines and technologies of its era. Though it was not enough to turn the tide in 1940, the Char B1's legacy lives on as a testament to the ingenuity and determination of its designers and crews. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the history of the Char B1. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more deep dives into military history. Until next time, keep exploring the past to understand the present.